this flailing dipshit. Now, just like Donald Trump didn't expect that he would be, I think, where is he? Standing in a small warehouse in Howell, Michigan, answering questions from a reporter with a sparsely attended blatherfest that went on far too long. I don't think if you'd asked this third generation rich kid? Anyways, this silver spoon asshole would go, yeah, in a couple of years, let's say 5 years ago, in a couple of years, I'm not going to be on Fox anymore. I'm going to be doing a podcast from my fucking cabin in the woods on Twitter, and scrambling for relevancy and topics. Don't forget to hit the like, Venmo, share the show, all the stuff I don't say. All right, now here we go. I'm going to jump around in this because I watched this whole fucking thing.
Week appalling, but there are thankfully entertainment possibilities, and we think we've found them. So for the first time in a long time, we are going live this Thursday night, 8:30 Eastern. We're going to be doing a live stream to react. And it's people inside the DNC, and the first thing you notice is they're all wearing.
Okay, I don't know. I guess this guy that he has on as a guest as a show someplace else. I don't give a shit. He's another right-wing commentator or something. It doesn't really matter because I want you to get kind of like, this starts out like a podcast. Here you go. Let's just check this out.
Masks outside. And I don't want to be mean. Mental illness is real. They're obviously mentally ill.
Definitely mentally ill. When he saw him at the other thing, they were wearing masks outside. Okay. There are other people right next to them, right? Dum. Okay, here we go.
But what's so interesting is I never see that in my life. Do you ever see anybody wearing masks outside?
Well, I live near Washington, so yes. I see
you actually do now?
Yeah, but so there are categories of people, I think, who are just neurotic and who've been misled, especially by the left, and they wear the mask still up until this very day.
Do you know how stupid you have to be to try and litigate this part of life right now? First of all, let's just I know what you're thinking. I love you. I love you, my viewers. You are so trying to crowbar logic, reason, and God forbid, empathy into this conversation and go, maybe the few that you see are currently sick, have an immunodeficiency, are taking medications that lower their immune response. So during the time they're taking the medication, they have to wear a mask for a myriad of other things, not just fucking COVID, but just to try and avoid the flu or any kind of respiratory things, like a myriad of fucking things, right? Obviously. And by the way, if you ever go to China, there's literally thousands of people you will see wearing masks every single day, all the time, because culturally that's what they do. So obviously he thinks they're all mentally ill. That's a conversation for another time. This is the launch of this 3-hour blatherfest. Is these two assholes complaining that they sometimes see people still wearing masks, and those people must be mentally ill based on nothing.
How bad that is for your health?
It's awful. It's awful. It's also,
I'd rather smoke cigarettes any day.
I actually think the cost.
I'd rather smoke cigarettes any day.
To socialization is even worse. It's like your health is awful, but like what does that say about you and how isolated you are from the rest of society?
Yes.
Nothing. You have no fucking idea. What does it say about you that you see somebody wearing a mask and you go, that person can't possibly have friends? Seriously. You know what's really bad for your socialization? Do you have any idea? Dying of an infectious disease because you have a diminished immune system for any myriad of reasons. Again, from disease itself to medication you might be on that has that impact on your system, and dying from that unnecessarily because you're worried about the judgment of these two fuckwads. That would wreak havoc on your social life. Being fucking dead or bedridden.
That can't be good for your head. And the truth is, I don't think it's for like a lot of these people. I don't really think in the end it's really about the health. They maybe soothe themselves by saying that.
Right.
Fundamentally, it's a political gesture.
These are MAGA hats, basically. Masks are MAGA hats. And you know why they think that? Because that's how they think. This is the beginning of a fucking 3-hour conversation between these dickheads. Step 2. Let's jump ahead because I want to see if I can find this. And it never, the energy of this never rises above that. It's just two guys shooting the shit about, we're not doing anywhere near the 3 hours of it. I'm hopping around. I just want to show you a couple of things because, like I said, there is a lot of competition. The DNC is happening right now. It's important that you understand this. This was right before the day before they posted this, and I think they taped it the day before the DNC started. This is their counter programming. You know how fucking spectacular that is? This is how they're pushing back on the DNC, which is fucking flawlessly executing like day after day, super charming, heartwarming, two fucking giant crowds coordinated at once. The speeches are fun. The people aren't, there's no fucking Hulk Hogan's tearing their fucking shirt off to reveal a shirt underneath, right? To counter program that, I don't know, the fucking people and their stupid masks. I don't even know. Wait, I know what you're thinking. How it's 3 hours long. It's the Tucker Carlson network. It's not only that, it's the Tucker Carlson show on the Tucker Carlson network. They've gotta hit their stride at some point.
And, the Lord of the earth is Satan. I mean, that's kind of right. And so it's just like, this is what it is. It's what it's.
Yeah. The Lord of the earth is Satan, right? I'm just needle dropping. These are just rando phrases in the middle. These are conclusions this fuckwad is coming to.
It's always been.
Yes, the earth has always been run by Satan. And this is the face of a man who goes, I don't know what I'm saying, but I have to keep talking like this so I can scoop up what's left of Alex Jones's audience and stuff them into my fucking wallet. Like a condom I will never get the chance to use before it turns into a guitar pick.
I just think people who are your age are less shocked by that than I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
My main impediment.
Yeah. First of all, his age? What the fuck do you think he is? A millennial? He's like 8 years younger than you. What do you mean your age?
It's just being shocked. Like, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, that's true.
What? They're putting people in prison for praying at abortion clinics? Like, what?
Yeah, they're not. They are not putting people in prison for praying at abortion clinics. They are putting people in prison for violently blocking the doorways of medical facilities.
They replaced Easter with Trans Visibility Day? I can't believe this.
Yeah, because it's not true. Trans Visibility Day happens on that day every year, the actual date, and Easter sometimes falls on that particular Sunday. And by the way, how do they replace it? First of all, let me start this goofy fuck. By the way, I know what you're thinking. Tucker Carlson has the laugh of a kid you meet at boarding school who will tell you he's not gay, but he's down for butt stuff if both of you are lonely enough. I get it. This is Easter is a pagan fertility holiday. If anything was a day of visibility for anything sexual, it's fucking the day that was borrowed by the monotheistic Abrahamic religions to turn into, and turned into Easter. It was that first.
I know.
Which is kind of like, I'm not a boomer, but it is kind of, thankfully I'm not a boomer, but it's.
What do you mean, thankfully you're not a boomer? What the fuck? What? You don't have the honorability to be a boomer. And by the way, I'm officially, and I will act on behalf of, I think Tara Dublin would agree with me. He is Yeah, he's not allowed to be Gen X if that's what he thinks he is. No. He's lost his Gen X card.
It's kind of a boomer response.
The opening ceremonies to the Olympics.
Yeah.
The fact that they would do a fake Last Supper with all trans.
That wasn't. It was a Greek feast. The fact that you don't know the difference between a Greek tradition and the artistic tradition of that and the Last Supper, or you think the Last Supper idea was actually born during that period of time, and that your cultural ignorance takes precedence because it's simply louder than the rest of it currently at this needle drop in time. Yeah. Again, we're 13 minutes into this shit, and this is where they go. I want to find, there was a piece in this. I wish there were fucking transcriptions along the side of this. But all it is these two assholes just back and forth going, what? You believe this shit? And you believe this shit? What about this shit? I don't even believe this shit. What do you believe this shit? And and then he does an ad, of course.
Seem like prerequisite for party membership is being willing to set aside your own interests, your own self-respect, your own dignity on behalf of the collective.
Yeah. I mean, how bitter do you think he is about this in real life?
I don't know. I don't know to what extent he's capable of complex emotions or thoughts like that.
Okay, he means Biden. They're talking about Biden. Like, this is so lazy. The whole idea, you can't, address this.
Don't even mention his daughter-in-law, who has been a loyal family member for over 20 years, has traveled a lot with Joe Biden because his wife didn't want to go with him. I saw this. And
you saw this? Uh-huh. Because she was working and teaching class? Like, this is amazing.
The shooting. And that's a fact. They allowed that. And
hold on. Wait. Let's back up. I'm needle dropping, so I just want you to just see that this is the punchline on this entire thing. I would like you to know it, because I probably will not be able to find this clip unless the internet gods are with us. Is that Tucker's biggest complaint right now is that men complain too much. Real men should not complain. And it's sad that men complain all the time. During a 3 fucking hour complaint fest between him and whoever the fuck this other dipshit is, where they just kind of whine about everything that's not going their way.
They put him on a glide path to the election. That for the remainder of the election, which is not that much time left, that we be litigating all of this. How did this happen? How do we prevent it from happening? Why did somebody shoot Trump? The underlying motivations.
They didn't shoot Trump. They shot at Trump. A piece of glass hit his ear.
Have you noticed, there's no conversation?
Fuck you. The possibility that it was a bullet versus the possibility that it was a shard, and Chris Wray saying it could have been a bullet, more than likely, maybe it was, but we don't know, is not him being shot. And these guys, by the way, they repeatedly say, like a lot of these assholes, Trump was shot in the face. Dude, he doesn't even know what part of his ear he got shot in.
About that anymore? The motive question disappeared in 5 seconds. It was like the Vegas shooter. It disappeared.
Well, he was just your average 20-year-old with.
By the way, the Vegas shooter didn't disappear. It was literally difficult to find out why this guy went as nuts as he did and did what he did, because there was no track for it. He was fucking crazy. He didn't have a grudge except against the world.
No social media profile whatsoever. Yeah. No motive at all. No one helped him do it. And, there was no real security failure at all. You just couldn't put an agent on a roof with a pitch that steep. It's it's pretty conventional stuff. 140 yards from the stage.
Yeah.
But by the way, this is, I think, low-res sarcasm. Also, I've covered this before. There was a window watching exactly where this guy was laying. If the cops that were watching that point had not left their post, they would have seen him right out the window and probably shot him in the back of the neck before he even assembled, put his position together to fire his rifle. But they were called away to look for him because somebody saw a guy with a gun walking around, and so they left their post. If they'd have just stayed right there, nobody had to be on that roof because they had a perfect view of it.
But you saw the Biden administration allow an assassination attempt, a shooting.
That's the narrative. And I can't understand why he's not still on Fox.
And that's a fact. They allowed that.
No, they did not.
And Again,
because they would have, to allow anything, you would have had to know ahead of time it was going to happen. So that's what you're supposed to presume from this.
I'm not saying they did it on purpose. Seems pretty clear.
Yes, you are. It has to be on purpose to allow it. Otherwise, you would just call it a failure. Allowing it specifically is an on-purpose activity. This is so fucking stupid.
Or they did. How could that not be on purpose? But I don't have any proof of that. But they allowed it. We can say that conclusively.
No, you cannot.
And no one ever mentioned it again. And
people are mentioning it all over the place. Like, information about this fuckwad is trickling out all the time. The reason why nobody talks about it anymore is because the right-wing media, who would normally jump all over this, you would think, because it's fucking Trump, they would dive into this. They would do nothing but go after Trump, the Trump shooter all the time. We need all the details and all this stuff. And as soon as they found out he was a registered Republican, fucking borderline radio silence. Even Greg Kelly doesn't cover this shit. Because it's not good news. Because it doesn't work. The minute it didn't fit their narrative, they bailed on it. You can complain that the media on the other side doesn't cover this, the obvious politically leaning stuff, my channel and other shit, if all of a sudden we just moved on from it, right? Because we have other priorities and I don't give a fuck and all that stuff. But the fact that right-wing media, but for this so in case you don't know, Alex Jones's entire media world is collapsing under the weight of its own stupidity and his own just blather to destroy, the parents of children who were slaughtered in a school shooting. And so everybody is moving in like fucking hammerhead sharks to steal whatever part of their audience that he can. And Russell Brand, Rusty Trombone, is trying to be the hippie Alex Jones, and Tucker is trying to be dweeb Alex Jones. Just to clarify, this is dweeb Alex Jones we're seeing here. I don't know how much of what he's saying he actually believes. It doesn't matter. He's either stupid or full of shit. Both of them are equally lucrative when you are seeking to be dweeb Alex Jones. And we are, 8 months away from this asshole going bald and growing a beard.
And Republicans don't mention it. I don't understand why.
Because it's not a Democrat that shot at him. It's a Republican that shot at him, you dumb fuck. That's why.
One of the ways I think that they allowed it, because once you're knocking on...
One of the ways I think that they allowed it. One of the ways. The many ways. Let me count the ways.
Really important doors. And if you start opening a bunch of them, eventually you get to a place you're like, man, this is really dark.
And it's full of Republicans jerking off. What do you mean? Opening a bunch of doors and it's really dark. Oh, God.
It's so dark. I agree.
It's so dark. I totally agree. It is. It's dark. There's a certain darkness that's there. Darkness.
I think one place that I've been in is that the Biden administration is ruthless in how they wield the government politically, as we know, with the United States Department of Justice. And the
United States Department of Justice? Yeah, I had some questions about how they run the United States Department of Justice.
Is that the Biden administration is ruthless in how they wield the government politically, as we know, with the United States Department of Justice.
Department of Justice.
And they resent the fact that Trump gets Secret Service protection at all.
Yeah, they wake up every fuck with Israel and Ukraine happening in the world and Iran, trying to attack our power grid and all this stuff. They get up every morning and go, oh, fuck, man. Why? They hate that they have to give him, by virtue of the law as a former president, Secret Service protection. So to the extent that they give him anything, they're just like, whatever. We'll send him something. But protecting him, not a priority. He handpicks his detail. I would like to say for the record, Trump does this all the time. He vetoes people on his detail all the fucking time. Just letting you know. Protecting Dr. Jill when she's doing an event in Pittsburgh in an indoor arena just down the road from Trump, in a really sophisticated way with all the teams necessary to protect her and going above and... As the wife of the current sitting president, whose, obvious... injury or death would cause great calamity to the function of the government right now because the sitting president's wife would have the death or the injury of her would have a massive impact on the country right fucking now because she's the first lady. Anyways, you were saying?
But beyond 100%, we'll do that.
Yeah, the repulsive fake Dr. Harpy wife gets all the bodyguards she wants.
Yeah.
But
This motherfucker, this frozen dinner silver spoon prick, fake harpy wife. By the way, what he means is women who have the self-respect to speak up or can speak as equal partners in their relationships.
the candidate doesn't.
But the Secret Service director that she...
Yeah, no, the candidate doesn't. I got news for you. The sitting president and vice president and their current family, their immediate family, get far more protection than anybody else who may or may not run for office, whether they have a shot at it in a couple of months or not, period. Never mind the fact that they're bullshitting because Trump has all the coverage he wants. He just wants sycophants around who will look the other way when he gets a delivery of fucking the green Sudafed crushed up with Adderall mix that he likes to blaze a rail of every day. He wants the kind of security guys who will stand outside, and let it happen.
Handpicked for the role, Kim Cheadle, because Kim Cheadle served on Jill Biden's detail when she was in the White House originally with when Joe Biden was vice president. So they choose Kim Cheadle to run the show. The last thing they're going to do is concern themselves with how safe is Trump and should we give him what he needs. Screw that.
Or Trump's own advance team doesn't concern himself with any of the warnings that they get from the Secret Service, the White House, and they just proceed with shit anyways because Trump is convinced that everybody with a gun is on his side. All right, jumping ahead. There's one part of this I have to show you, and then I'll move on.
There's kind of no explaining that. That is sort of the end of any potential respect I had for you. Kiss your husband with a mask on?
And Tim Walz,
that shit, right. Hold on.
Late night.
you can buy artwork in the bathrooms.
For real?
Yeah, the walls of leading into all the bathrooms, they have artwork on the wall with prices. So when you're in the bathroom, you can choose art and buy.
Where the fuck? What are they talking about? What place? What plates? Buying art out of the turlet. Please go on.
It off the wall.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. Yeah,
It's cool. It's cool. So you're like pissing and you're like, wow, that moves me. Don't you agree? Where are you going?
it's a cool place. They make beef jerky and they make all the fudge you could possibly eat and all the bar.
It's the wonderful MAGA wonderland. It's the dream place, Tucker. It's the place we all wish we could go. Riding a rainbow over the fields, and you go to a place, and they have artwork that you can buy in the toilet, and they make their own beef jerky, and there's a fudge river that leads you into the butthole of a unicorn that farts glitter.
Tell me
you
about
could
it.
possibly
Tell me
have.
about it. I was in a Buc-ees. We were doing a book tour in like 2018, maybe.
Okay, by the way, these are truck stops they're talking about, the Buc-ees truck stops. I hope this is, I'm going to find it because it's right around this conversation. This is Tucker Carlson, whoever the fuck this is, arguing that America, again, is in decline. America's taken a giant shit. It's over. Okay? Understand that. America's done. And then they go on this fucking 45-minute ramble about how there are these like truck stop / gas stations in a certain part of the country where you can buy all this stuff. Wait till he gets to what he buys there.
I was on the road. Emily Lynn is sitting right there, and I had the driver pull over into Buc-ees like 3 a.m. We're driving from like Dallas to Houston.
Yeah.
And no one had been to Buc-ees, and I was like, Buc-ees is the greatest because I always buy all the weird chewing tobacco there. So
He always buys all the weird chewing tobacco at Buc-ees. Oh, wait. The weird kind. Weird. Weird's the word? Weird? What are you looking at me for? Don't look at me like that, you fucking weirdo.
we're wandering through Buc-ees, and
Yeah, as you do.
I get to the candy area. I love candy.
Yeah.
And
And they have
Yes, we can tell from your clothes. You're a fucking toddler.
like old-fashioned candy. They've got like walls.
I was going, and they had like a thing like malted milk balls.
Yeah.
It was like $4 for 4 pounds. And I'm getting this thing, and Emily comes up and takes my arm, and she's like,
I think that's enough.
it's like, thank God you're here.
No, you do need. That's true. You do need a woman nearby.
You do. You
impose
totally.
All right. I'm convinced Tucker Carlson is a goddamn Muppet. Okay, so I think the conversation about the chewing tobacco happened earlier. Hold on.
There's kind of no explaining that. That instantly. I went to boarding school. I know who Tim Walz is.
Yeah.
I mean, Tim
Also, really? You went to boarding school? Shocker.
Walz.
Maybe that's why he's so relatable.
I'm sorry. The
other thing, too, is that they can't figure out who he is. And apparently, I can't tell during this part of the conversation whether he's alluding to the idea that Walz is gay. Seems to be the underlying theme.
It's so funny to live in a society where you have to deny obvious things. I look at Tim Walz, I'm like, oh, I know exactly who you are. Instantly. I went to boarding school. I know who Tim Walz is.
Nobody knows what the fuck you're talking about, dummy.
Big time. And
big time?
I actually don't. I have zero actual evidence, but
when does that ever stop you?
Having spent 4 years in a New England boarding school in the 80s,
you know his type.
Are you kidding? Oh yeah.
Why? What the hell?
So I had a couple doormasters like Tim Walz for sure.
Well, he did
show up in your room late night drunk to talk about stuff. Yeah.
He's like,
wait a minute. Back the fuck up. There's the show. Tucker, you've buried the lead. You've lost the thread. Back the fuck. Here's a whole show. Tucker Carlson's therapy sessions about what happened to him in fucking boarding school when his parents, who recognized he was an asshole, sent him away to school. And he was with other kids who were parents were like, well, I just think I need a little more discipline and that kind of stuff. And they come here all the time and they visit me and stuff versus, what about you? No, they just fucking park me here and leave. All right. Now, back for it. Hold on.
But the bottom line is, I look at Tim Walz and I'm like, I know. Here's our special F.
I think you can mock him a little bit. I think that's
because you're a freak. And I feel sorry for you, but no, you can't have power. No power for you, freak. That's how I feel.
This weekend, they
yeah, nobody cares.
Put Kamala in some
Hold on.
She says.
Oh.
And she walks around.
So this is all about the Doritos. This is all about the Doritos. And the fact that they think she snatched the Doritos from the second gentleman from Doug, that Doug went, here they are, and she was like, I'll take those, which she's being cute or whatever. And they were like, if my woman ever snatched a bag of Doritos out of my, she'd get what for? That's
what she has no idea where the chips are. She's like,
also, what are you talking about? All of them are lined up the same way. It's so weird. It's one of these things. How dare she not know? They're trying to pull it like DeSantis in Wegmans or whatever.
Staring all around the store. She has no idea. And her husband.
By the way, the DNC is going on right in correspondence with this. And this is their line of attack. Do you know how good this is? Do you know what a great position the Democrats are and the Democratic ticket and the Democratic voters are when this is what they're latching onto?
Grabs it. And she goes, oh, Dougie. And she reaches and she grabs the bag. She pulls them away. She's like, I'll take those. And she rips them out of her hand. Rips the Doritos out of his hands. And
that bitch. Oh, my God. How dare she playfully grab a bag of Doritos because it's something that, I don't know, whatever. And again, this is his perception of what happened. It's so weird.
And then cackles, and she walks off. Everything about it felt so completely unnatural and contrived.
Well, I think I've only been to Sheetz a few times, but the one thing I remember about Sheetz, they have one of the world's...
All right, this is where nothing brings together. And then this is what I was looking for, because I wanted to share this with you. I was driving, so I was listening, and I couldn't make a stream marker to find this. But it was worth it. Nothing juxtaposes the bullshit world of rich asshole and fake MAGA like what you're about to hear. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the dweeb Alex Jones, silver spoon up his asshole, Tucker Carlson, posing as everyman, and not just everyman, macho tan nuts Tucker with his goofy fucking Muppet laugh, pretending to be, this side of Butch from, I don't know, fucking Ted Cruz.
Second to Buc-ees, but one of the world's largest selections of chewing tobacco. Every kind of dip, like ever, including like some you've never, pomegranate flavored or whatever. I always.
Did you hear that? Did you just, dude? Way to butch it up right out of the fucking gate. Check that one more time.
Second to Buc-ees, but one of the world's largest selections of chewing tobacco. Every kind of dip, like ever, including like some you've never, pomegranate flavored or whatever. I always buy a tin or two.
A tin or two of pomegranate dip. This like Jesus Christ. It's like he wants somebody to invent a time machine so he can go back in time to the mid-90s and have someone shove him into a locker because it's his fetish. Hey, Tuck, man. What kind of dip you using? Pomegranate. Wait, it gets worse.
Two there.
Wait till he gets to kiwi.
I don't know how you could pass by the extensive snuff selection to buy Doritos. Like that itself is disqualifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, you heard that right. So he thinks it's disqualifying that the former DA of San Francisco, the AG of California, the current sitting vice president of the United States, and the clear favorite to win the presidency, doesn't buy dip at a truck stop in the middle of a campaign and buy snack food like everybody the fuck else. And he thinks that is disqualifying. And I don't know how much he's committed to this. This seems like such raging bullshit that there's like no, it's so untethered from reality. Wait.
They're not even Cool Ranch. Like they were regular Doritos. Like if I'm not a Doritos person, but I know.
This is an argument. This is the two guys working out why Kamala Harris shouldn't be president.
Doritos aficionados.
Yeah.
They're all Cool Ranch people.
Are they? I totally believe
like
that.
The regular Doritos, like.
What the fuck are you talking about? First of all, the biggest seller is nacho cheese Doritos, hands down. Secondly, I believe that the social decline in the United States happened when they started putting the dip on the chip beforehand. I think we became so lazy that we couldn't take a chip out of a bag, move it all the way across, over, put it in the dip, perhaps even salvage a piece of it as it broke out, feed ourselves the dip. When they're like, I want my dip aerosoled on top of the chip, that is the beginning of the end. That said, I'm of course joking. They of course are not. He's fucking serious.
Like, what a poser. And
what a poser. He says to pomegranate dip.
She has no idea what she's doing. And by the way, you're making me think, I want to see her in Buc-ees. I want to see the Kamala Harris Buc-ees fusion experience. I'd love to.
I doubt there are many people in Buc-ees. Buc-ees is a truck stop in
Amazing.
Texas. I think it's moved to Florida
now. It's all over
now.
the place now.
Right.
And they have more gas station bays than any other conventional
and the cleanest bathrooms, most famously a candy selection. I was in there late night.
You can buy artwork in the bathroom.
Yeah, okay. So this gets to the area where we were before. This is the midpoint in this fucking hour. This is almost dead center in the middle of this fucking 3-hour fucking blatherfest. All right. Okay. Enough of that. Like, you get the point. What the shit